that we bring leaders from across cross-section of society and also experts from different fields, nationally and internationally, on different topics of interest for the benefit of Bombay Management Association members and society. So I welcome everybody and welcome Lieutenant General J.K. Sharma. Thank you very much for joining, sir. And today's session will be coordinated by my senior colleague, Mr. Jagmohan Singh Rishi. So Jagmohan, all is yours, and General Sharma. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rajesh. So much. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. At the outset, it is my privilege to be hosting this session with Lieutenant General J.K. Sharma, sir. And once again, thank you very much for accepting the request. Lakshmi, can I request you for a introductory slide?
Yes, sure.
While Lakshmi is putting an introductory slide, I must say that when I read about this particular mailer that Dr. General Sharma will be addressing us, there were goosebumps, of course, I had, because it is very rarely you come across a senior, Army general who's sharing his thoughts about the leadership. And leadership is such a large subject because in Army they live leadership on a daily basis. So let me try in my little bit of experience to introduce sir. Luckily, the introductory slide has gone back. Can I request you please put the slide?
So Lakshmi, please put everybody else on mute.
Yes.
Please put everybody else on mute.
So my screen is visible?
Yes. Jagmohan? Jagmohan, are you there? So let me take this opportunity of introducing General Sharma. Jagmohan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there, sir.
Okay,
The slide was the slide is going away again and again.
Lakshmi, can you share the slide?
Make it full screen, please.
Make it full screen. The first slide. The first slide. The first slide. Go
This
back.
introduction you want, no?
No, yes, the first slide. You go back.
Okay, sir. I think she's having some difficulty. Let me start with this
Yeah,
slide
sure.
itself. Okay. So Lieutenant J.K. Sharma has had one of the most unique military careers under the most daunting circumstances over 4 decades. From humble beginning as a proud airman in Indian Air Force in the late 70s, he rose to the rank of Lieutenant General in the Indian Army, braving all odds. His formative years in Army were spent in counter-insurgency operations in the Northeast, Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir, and Siachen Glacier. This endowed him with a rich experience in the face of life-threatening situations, trying times in the roles as a colleague and leader, facing death at close quarters, and thus understanding the multidimensional perspective of life, soldiering, and camaraderie. As a part of Director General of Military Operations, he has been closely involved in planning and execution of operations during Kargil in 1999, in Uri in 2016, and seen through many crisis situations of external aggression and internal conflict. He's also been a peacekeeper in the United Nations and member of a team in averting hostage crisis in Angola, Sierra Leone, and Lebanon. His latest work on political ideologies and civil military relation, a case study of India, is under publication. So I take this opportunity once again to welcome Lieutenant General and share his thoughts on the leadership, on effective leadership, how we in the corporate world, how in the normal world, we can demonstrate effective leadership, which we can, walk the talk also, and of course, share your own experiences. Lakshmi, you can unshare the slide, please. I request General Sharma to please share his slides and of course, share his thoughts also. Yes, sir, you're there?
Yes, I'm there. I am just trying to share the screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Am I audible?
Absolutely, sir. You're audible, sir.
Am I visible? And so is my screen?
Absolutely, sir. Crystal clear, sir.
Thank you so much. The Chairman, Executive Committee of the BMA, the members of the BMA, the Executive Committee, all the luminaries who are likely to be here today, and dear Rajesh, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you. My gratitude to the BMA at the outset to giving me this opportunity to talk and share some of my thoughts on the topic of my choice, which I accept with all humility. And I consider it as a great opportunity because all my life I have been breathing and thinking army. So to be talking to some business community, it certainly has not been my forte. I was quite surprised when Rajesh contacted me and asked me to speak on a topic. And unfortunately, he left the topic to my choice. And I'm sure the august audience will appreciate that that is one of the most daunting tasks that one has to do. That's to decide for himself as to what he has to speak on, and especially among such luminaries. But Rajesh, for whom I have deep respect, love, and admiration. As a matter of fact, the admiration is mutual because both of us, we know where we come from and our backgrounds. So it took me a lot of time to reflect and introspect. And ultimately, I decided to give military stories. I'm saying again, I decided to give military stories on leadership. And why I decided to give military stories is because the lessons of leadership are hidden behind each of these stories and the way you look at them. And this is something which actually resonates with every man, every group of people, and I think every function of the society, if it is a social cohesion. In one case, a most inconspicuous become a leader at the spur of the moment. And in another, a lifetime of hard work and training, even that cannot make one a leader. Because leadership is a choice. I just want to add a small caution here on the expectations. I have never been to a university. I have never been a professor or a lecturer. I have never attended any business management course. I have never been a manager. I have only been in the business of war. And in the business of war, ladies and gentlemen, there are no losers. Either you win or you die. And therefore, I'll be shooting straight from the hip. And that actually makes me very skeptical as to what kind of reactions it may provoke. But then, as a soldier, I'm prepared to accept that. I have not much of a problem. But surely I shall share what it makes to be a leader, what it makes to be a team, and under the most crucial circumstances, how do you win against all odds? That is what I'm going to share with you. I really don't know whether at the end of the day, it will be useful to you to enhance your productiveness, your effectiveness, and all these aspects, which actually you may be looking as the major takeaways. But the stories I shall tell, and the stories you must listen because you have taken the risk of doing so. Now, my discussion in the next 1 hour or so, pardon me if I go a little more because of my emotional angle involved in it, and therefore you may have a little lesser time for Q&A, but it will go with some notable examples from the military and an odd example from our history as well, highlighting the traits and the unique of the same, which are timeless and transiting businesses, transiting organizations. I would like to reflect on certain very fundamental aspects of leadership. Often there is a question, are leaders made or are they born? And my conviction of 42 years of army life and all the training that I've got is that leaders are neither born nor leaders are made. Leaders are actually, it is an import or an affair of a choice that one makes for himself. If it is the freedom exercised by oneself, by choice and sacrifice. And to give you a very small example, I take the story of Major Mohit Sharma. It is the will to sacrifice and will to sacrifice against all odds. Major Mohit Sharma, Urf Iftikhar. Why Iftikhar? If you can see my cursor, a small team of special forces raiders, 2 of his jawans when he was undertaking anti-terrorist operations in J&K were killed. And Major Mohit Sharma decided to avenge that killing and take revenge of this. And he intruded into the terrorist groups, ladies and gentlemen, as Iftikhar, started living with them, started staying with them, learned Pashto, learned Urdu in those 6 months. And after 6 months, when he started eliminating one by one the number of terrorists that he had decided to eliminate, one day he was given away. The leader of the terrorist group thought that probably he is a mole, and he questioned Major Mohit Sharma stood open with his chest broad. He says, if you doubt me, kill me. And it is then when he said that you kill me, the leader of the group felt that no, he's telling the truth, that he's one of us. He's actually Iftikhar. That very same night, when he realized that leader has got right, then he decided to kill the leader himself. And when he was doing this, he was caught in this action and he was shot upon. But before he got killed, he killed the other 2 terrorists also who were trying to actually kill him. Ladies and gentlemen, he eliminated practically everybody who was there in that group which actually killed his 2 comrades, and he avenged his death. What comes out? What comes out is the dedication. What comes out is the love and affection. What comes out is the attachment to his people, that emotional connect, that trust, that faith. The picture that you see in the end of the screen, that is his brave wife, who is actually receiving the Ashok Chakra, the President's Award, the highest gallantry award at peacetime on bravery. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is also Major Mohit Sharma, along with his band of brothers. There is a great chasm, there is a great difference between being a manager and a leader, or being a boss and a leader. Leader is a position which cannot be anointed. It cannot be assumed. It has to be earned. It will be given to you by the people who are wanting you to be their leader. Leader is not an individual. We must appreciate that. He always have the led ones. And it is the led ones who actually believe him and give him that position of leader. It is whether it is by virtue of respect, love, affection, and many other traits which I have just mentioned to you. Sacrifice. Otherwise, glaciers like Tiger Hill, Tololing, Muntho Dhalo, they were not captured by individuals. They were not captured by leaders alone. They were captured by teams. It was the teams who were led to these glaciers, and they captured the highest of the peaks of the universe in their fight for the nation. And I will qualify this. You know, I'm sure you are all aware of the Kargil war, and we had Tiger Hill and Tololing and Muntho Dhalo and various other battles which are going on. And 0.5140 was a very, very, very critical battle for the capture of Tololing. We started mounting our operations on 21st of May, and we were able to capture only Tololing only on 25th of June, after almost a month plus fight. And in that fight, 0.5140 was also very critical. Vikram Batra actually fought this operation, and he was seriously wounded. And we actually captured Tololing on 25th of July, in which we lost Vijan Thapar. You may recall his name. But when it came to the battle of 0.4875, which was very critical for the subsequent battle, the preparation started on 25th June, and we thought that we will start attacking it very soon. But we could not attack this feature till the night of 4th and 5th of July. The first attack went on 5th. The second attack went on 6th. And we were constantly failing. 5 assaults failed on this. And Vikram Batra, who was seriously injured, he kept on insisting on his commanding officer that, sir, I'll go for this battle. Please allow me. Finally, he was allowed, and he went for the battle of 0.4875. And when he went there, the assault on the night of 6th and 7th again failed. Why? Because the daytime, the enemy was getting adequate time to recoup and reorganize himself. He decided to launch a frontal assault on the afternoon of 10th, on the day of 10th. At 10:30, the feature was assaulted and captured, with 19 people of personnel of the enemy soldiers killed. And he was still wounded, but he found one of his comrades, one of his jawans, is lying under the enemy fire. There was fire coming on from the other side. And therefore, he went to retrieve him. There was a sniper waiting for him. When he was trying to extricate that jawan, his soldier, from the enemy fire in lying position, he was taken by a sniper. It was that bullet which killed him, and mind you, the action in which he got killed. He had already captured the feature. His team had already captured the feature, but he got killed when he was trying to retrieve a jawan. When he was trying to retrieve one of his team members, he made an ultimate sacrifice. Imagine the kind of faith, the kind of trust that he must have reposed in his men while making this act of gallantry and bravery, and thus making sure that the entire community is believe that yes, the trust and faith and love and affection and care is possible, even at the cost of the ultimate sacrifice of human living, of a human being. And therefore, I always take my mind back to the 37th verse of Bhagavad Gita, Hatova prapasi swargam jitvova bhokshasi mahim. So profound. If you lose, if you die, if you are slain in the, not lose, if you are slain in the battle, you will go to the heavenly abodes. But if you win, you will enjoy the pleasures and the wonders of this earth. What a great story of courage. Ladies and gentlemen, the courage of valor, the courage of bravery, the courage of sacrifice started much earlier. History is replete with it. But for the independent India, it started immediately after our independence, when Pakistan decided to capture Kashmir. The raiders invaded. We had British generals as chiefs. General Kriappa had taken over as the chief of army staff, the commander-in-chief of the Indian Army just a few days before the raiders came in. We in the Indian Army, we took upon ourselves to evict these raiders. I mean, I don't want to repeat the history, what happened to the Maharaja of Kashmir, etc., etc. But these raiders came in and we mobilized all our resources from Delhi in those sparse communication, primitive communication systems with age-old Dakotas of the Second World War vintage. And we mobilized all our resources to Kashmir and fight that war. Simultaneously, there was another war which was going on for the assimilating the state of Hyderabad into India. So India was already fighting in Junagadh, in Hyderabad, and we were now also fighting at Kashmir. And during this period, our battalions, our men, they fought valiantly. And the first Paramveer Chakra was awarded to Major Somnath Sharma, who with his handful of men, just a few hundred, he actually made sure that none of the raiders are able to cross him, by which time the reinforcement came. His final words were that I am out of ammunition, but please don't worry, till such time I am breathing, I will make sure that none of the raiders are allowed to cross my position. And that is why there is a famous proverb which goes in the army, I will fight till the last round with me, or till the last breath of mine, I will continue to fight. And that is what Major Somnath Sharma did. And he actually prevented the raiders, and then the reinforcement came and the raiders were pushed back. What was it for? It was for his men, it was for this country, it was for the countrymen, it was for the people of Kashmir. Look what he did. So we have a very recent story of or recent incident of Galwan crisis. All of us, I think everybody amongst us may know Suresh Babu, Colonel Suresh Babu. What a great soul he was, what a great leader he was. You know, he had a task, he had a job. He had a job that the Chinese must leave his area of responsibility by the fall of the evening. And he went and told them himself that I want that all your establishment, whichever are there, please wind them by the evening, wind them up by evening. He went in the night to reinforce, to reconfirm this on himself. And when he went there by himself, and when he went there along with few of his men, and he found that the Chinese are still there, he told them to immediately wind up. When he told them to wind up, he was just pushed, just one touch on him. And that one touch on him, ladies and gentlemen, actually brought his soldiers into a rage. Why? This rage was because they found that the person whom they revere as their protector, as their leader, he is being pushed. And therefore, every man of his group came out with maximum fury on all the Chinese PLA soldiers who were there. While we lost 20, but I don't know whether how many of you must have monitored the Global Times. After 72 hours, they confirmed that they had almost about between 40 to 75 dead. Of course, subsequently they tried to change those figures with various permutations and combinations. But the fact of the matter is that only at one moment, when a leader was just even, there was a slight little threat which was felt to be coming to the leader, the men came up with all ferocious fury on the entire lot of Chinese. At the cost of a minute, I will also go back to the 1962 war. Around the same area, you would have heard about Tiger Hill and the Razangla. Razangla was one of the critical posts which had to be defended. Otherwise, Ladakh would have been overruled by the Chinese. 113 men, just 113 men of 11th Command Regiment, led by Major Shatan Singh, with primitive weapons. They were wave after wave of the Chinese. They were attacked nights over nights. They defended it till the last man. But for 211 men, ladies and gentlemen, out of 113 perished in this battle, including Major Shaitan Singh was the last one to die. The 2 men who survived tell their tales. They have got such wonderful stories to tell of bravery. But mind you, these 111 men and the other 2, they made sure that the Chinese are not allowed to go across their place. And by that time, the Chinese were so exhausted that they could not push their battle any further. And India was defended. India was defended at the cost of their lives. So, such acts of bravery. Just in the introduction, it was mentioned that I did spend some time on the highest battlefield in the world, which is Siachen Glacier. I don't know how many of you have heard about the Bana Post. It is the highest post in the world. It is at 22,153 feet. And to climb this, you have to actually climb an ice wall, which is absolutely straight cliff. And here, this post Cair, which was occupied by Pakistanis, was dominating the entire Siachen Glacier, the entire South Road. It had to be captured. It was becoming one of the south. We launched multiple attacks. We prepared over a period of 20 days, launched multiple attacks, lost almost about 60 men in various battles over those 20 days when we tried to capture this post. But finally, it was Subedar Bana Singh with just 8 men who actually stormed this post in the middle of the night, and their weapons froze because at that height and those temperatures, and they actually took the Pakistanis in hand-to-hand combat and eliminated them and got the Bana Post for India, the highest battle post in the world. Very recently, just about 6 years back, we had the Uri incident. I believe that there is a bastardized version of this also, which has come out called movie Uri. I don't see such pictures because we make a mess of it of the reality when we make such movies. So I believe that movie is also there. But since firsthand, I can tell you that, ladies and gentlemen, this was one of the toughest tasks. Get into identified terrorist camps between 1 to 3 kilometers inside enemy territory, over a distance of almost 300 kilometers. You can see this red dots, and the teams led by one man who actually went inside and destroyed, stayed in the enemy territory overnight. Next day, destroyed the enemy terrorist camps, killed the terrorists, almost 40, maybe more, because Pakistan never ever comes out with real figures, and avenged the Uri attack by Pakistan. Surgical Suri, that is Major Suri actually, who was the commander of this task force. He was, of course, awarded with a gallantry award. But when you meet this man, you find as to why there is so much of difference. In the Second World War, Field Marshal Montgomery, for the paratroopers, he coined a word, men apart, every man is an emperor. So each of these Jawans who went to undertake these operations into the enemy territory, look at the amount of responsibility that they had on their shoulders. The nation was almost at the brink of the war at that time. And one odd trigger and we could have gone for a war. Soldiers, some of them just about 11th, 12th class pass, but with dedication, devotion, training, and their faith and trust in the organization and in the leadership, that they undertook this such a gallant task, such a valiant task, such a tough task and executed to the precision. We didn't have a single casualty. All our men came up safe. Huge amount of planning, huge amount of resources, but at the end of the day, it was a great exercise. Closer home, for the Bombay Management Association, in the 2611 incident, ladies and gentlemen, you may remember the GM of Taj Hotel, Karambir Khan. He lost his wife, he lost his children. I mean, we thought he would have lost everything, but he didn't feel so. He continued to sort of work for the safety of his people. Major Uni Krishnan, he actually got injured in the beginning, but he continued to fight. He continued to direct the operations, and he finally made his ultimate sacrifice. What does all this indicate? Ladies and gentlemen, there may be huge amount of planning over the period, but the leaders, they are actually the architect of that movement which changes the story. They changes the story for the humanity. They changes the story of companies. I mean, you can read Peter Drucker, you can read Stephen Covey, Viktor Frankl, and all these people. I would not like to go into this because I would rather believe in such stories who actually made such a huge difference, not only to the people with whom they served, but to the entire humanity. And therefore, I always say that no amount of teaching, no amount of training can make a leader. Leader is a choice. It's an affair of choice, and it is a choice that you make to do a sacrifice. You know, we in army, therefore, we always talk about human as one of the greatest, I shouldn't say resource, but the greatest creation of the mankind, of this universe, which actually get converted into force. And therefore, we don't, I mean, please pardon me, somehow, whenever I have heard people coming out, management of people, I'm always a little skeptical about this word. And my skepticism comes out that it is such a wonderful creation of the nature. It has a body, an intellect, a mind, and above all, a great spirit. A mind and spirit which is a flow of his prakriti, a prarabdha karma, and he is actually the only sentient being on this planet which has control over everything else, and therefore, if we try and consider it only as a resource to be managed and nothing beyond that, that is where many organizations blunder and flounder. But in army, in the defense services, we don't do that. We actually treat them as a wholesome package with all that it comes, with its weaknesses, with its strength, with its character, with its body and mind, and all people around him, those who are connected to him. Because after all, he did not sign an application form before he was born on this planet that I want to be born at so and so place. He actually came, and now, at least for his birth, he didn't have a choice. So that is the first weakness that poor guy has had. So therefore, we actually come with that purport. And I would like to exemplify this, the greatest aspect of the human being, that is the spirit, from one of the very notable examples from history. And I go to Guru Gobind Singh Ji. He was a scholar, a spiritual guru, and he fought so many battles in support of so many kings and his own battles, but he never ever kept any kingdom that he won for some king. He sacrificed his own children. When his father asked him, what should I do to protect the religion? The Mughals are asking me to come to Delhi. He told his father, please go, knowing fully well that if he doesn't agree to them, he's going to be sacrificed. And this is exactly what happened. Having fully known the results, he still did what he felt that he must do. And he's a legend who shall continue to be legend and a lord, and a revered lord, and he will continue to remain so till the end of the history. But what great lessons that need to be taken from his lifetime. So, ladies and gentlemen, leader, they impel and propel not only his people, but everyone around him towards a greater purpose, towards a greater good. And that, no matter how small it may be, it can be the smallest measure, but it is not. It is outside of him. It is not for himself. He creates more leaders. He actually live by example. In my 42 years of service, I always felt that leader has to set an example. He has to walk the talk. If he doesn't walk the talk, he cannot be a leader. And therefore, there's a beautiful couplet, beautiful shloka in the chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita. Yada charati shreshast tat deve tarajana satya sayat pramanam kurute tat loko saddanu vartate. Implies whatever actions great persons perform, common people follow. And whatever standards they set, all the world pursues. The world conforms to the standards that the great man or the great leader he sets for himself. I mentioned about the importance and relevance of principles. A true leader exercise, and I also mentioned about freedom. A true leader exercise the principled use of freedom and power to choose. Today, people are starstruck, celebrity obsessed, because their values are not anchored in principles. Popularity shapes their moral center. They don't know who they are and what is the locus of their value. They don't know what principles to follow because their lives are based only on contemporary social norms. Their heroes are screen stars, not the revered gurus, not the revered leaders, those who have sacrificed so much for the good of the humanity and for good of their people. Ladies and gentlemen, outside show is a very poor substitute for your inner wealth. It is by the principled, humble use of freedom and power by which person obtains moral authority, with people, organizations, and this moral authority which comes to you by the demand, nor by position, as the hallmark of leadership. I mentioned about trust and faith. Trust and faith, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to show this slide to you about Guru Gobind Singh, about his sacrifices. Sorry, I got carried away in talking about these emotions. So trust and faith is not an instruction, ladies and gentlemen. Trust and faith actually is an emotion. Is an emotion. And the consistency and the connect of the trust is basic and is something which is built by accepting failure and taking responsibility. Trust is one of the best emotional bank account that you can build up with your team, with your co-workers, with your people. We must do the right thing, no matter what it takes to do the right thing. It's better to fail with honor than to succeed with fraud. No one heals with no one heals oneself by wounding other people. So you have to have that empathy for every person, and you have to have faith. You have to have faith in yourself, in others, and people who actually look upon you. That faith has to be very, very mutual, ladies and gentlemen. It is built on mutual trust and mutual faith. So the leadership is actually, mutual trust and faith is actually the bedrock of leadership. I spoke about Vikram Batra. I spoke about surgical strike. I spoke about Suresh Babu, and these are people which are known, but then there are so many unsung heroes in everyday life in the army, where you are fighting operations, single man, two people, three people, small teams. I mean, I can keep on, but because of the mandate that has been given to me, I'm only sticking to this. Or as time comes by, I can give each story and any number of lessons from there. Today we have, Kargil with us. Today we have Ladakh with us. Today we have Arunachal Pradesh with us. Today we have Kashmir with us, and we do not have Hajipir, although we won it in 1965. I will definitely talk about this operation subsequently, if ever I get another chance to talk to you as to what great planning and what great dedication people had in planning that operation and winning. And unfortunately, after the 1965 war, we gave it away in the ceasefire agreement. But ladies and gentlemen, I just want to add a few great generals into this figure. We all have heard about Manik Shah. He has that courage of conviction, of professional acumen, to tell the then one of the strongest Prime Minister of India, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, that, madam, if you want to start the war in the month of April, I can give you my resignation and you can let another general do it. Because he knew that the situation is not right. And therefore, if he gets time for his men, for his people, for resources to mobilize, and if he's able to fight the war at his own choosing, time of his own choosing, he'll be able to win it. And he was allowed. And the war started in 1971, in the month on 3rd of December, and we liberated, we actually created a nation. We call it as a liberation of Bangladesh, but mind you, it was East Pakistan and it was created into Bangladesh. So we created a nation. We talk about, in the same operation, I think nobody must have heard about General Sagat Singh, or maybe a few. General Sagat Singh was the architect of a battle, the Battle of Tangail, which is taught all over the defense universities in the world. And why so? Because it is one of the most striking operations where a handful of men, compared to the number of Pak soldiers deployed in Bangladesh and then East Pakistan, 1 battalion of paratroopers, it was airdrop. It is also one of the biggest airdrops after the Second World War in the history of the airdrops. He actually felt that the opportunity is right. And he had the faith and confidence in his men. And he asked them, can you do it? Everybody said yes. He was GOC 4 Corps at that time, a Corps Commander, General Officer commanding of 4 Corps. And he decided to go in for operations. And he did it. And look what happened. That was the turning point in the Battle of East Pakistan, subsequently Bangladesh. I must mention General Harbaksh Singh here. We talk about 65 war. Throughout the war, the pendulum was going this side, that side, India, Pakistan, and we were at a very critical juncture. We had Khem Karan almost being taken away by Pakistan. We had Firozpur area. I mean, the border area, almost a lot of intrusions taking place, and this area was becoming more and more threatened. And the Chief of Army Staff, General Chaudhary, told General Harbaksh, who was the Western Army commander, to withdraw. But he realized that if he does that, he's going to, we are going to face a very huge defeat, a very big defeat against the orders, knowing fully well that he's going to get court-martialed. He did not withdraw. He actually made out another plan and launched operations from different directions, and actually we won the war. There's a beautiful book written by his ADC, Captain Amarinder Singh, the erstwhile Chief Minister of Punjab. He was ADC to General Harbaksh in the 1965 war, the Monsoon War. It's a voluminous book, but it's a great story. If ever anybody is interested in military history, you must read it. So, ladies and gentlemen, he was all these great men. None of these men who actually went in for this, who changed the geography and history of this this continent, hankered for anything. They did not ask for any award. They did not ask for any reward. They just did their job, and majority of them, rather without any exception, I think they all faded away, because they were not fighting for a reward. They were fighting for a cause. They were fighting for a bigger purpose, and with full faith and trust in their men, with full faith and trust in their own selves, and they were ready to sacrifice, or they sacrificed everything. I want to draw out to Swami Vivekananda. I mean, I think all of us, we revere Swami Vivekananda. He's an architect of a wonderful India. His thoughts are so wonderful. When he came from Chicago, in 1893, and he started giving his lectures, one of the fundamental issues that he always kept on saying, that the ideal for India and Indians is renunciation and service. That is seva or tyag, or sacrifice and service. And you know, you may if I convert this into management jargon, renunciation and tyag can be termed as a passionate commitment to a higher ideal and purpose, and service or seva can be translated into commitment to the evolutionary potential of human beings. Which means that I seriously believe that everyone can be better than they are, physically, socially, emotionally, intellectually. But ladies and gentlemen, the USP always remains service and sacrifice, seva or tyag. True sacrifice is when you sacrifice your own happiness and your own comfort for the sake of others or for a greater purpose. That's truly servant leadership. That is the leadership. And you know, though Robert Greene came out with this book, this thought of servant leadership in 1970, but he draws all his inspiration and his thought from Hermann Hesse's a small novel, Journey to the East, which was published in 1954, which actually Hermann Hesse actually talks about what East is all about, what particularly India is all about. And the Patanjali Yoga Sutra defines, ladies and gentlemen, when you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bounds. Your mind transcends limitations. Your consciousness expands in every direction, and you find yourself in a new, great, wonderful world. You know, take responsibility, follow your own highest ideal, something that appeals to you, but noble, and for the welfare of your colleagues, fellow men, and humanity. Acting from the profound depths of inner being, our equanimity, our integrity. Do the right thing. We have the choice. We often get carried away with this idea that no, we don't have the choice. But I don't agree with it, ladies and gentlemen. When Krishna was giving all the Upadesh to Arjuna, and he was told that there is no point in giving all this Upadesh to Arjun, you rather give it to Duryodhana because he's the bad guy. So Krishna went to Duryodhana, and Duryodhana told him, Janami dharmam nachme pravriti, janami adharmam nachme nivriti, kenepi deven hirdesten Yatha niyuktosi tatha karomi. I know what is good and I also know what is bad, but I don't want to do good and I can't help doing bad. Because there is some divine force which is centered in my heart, which is actually directing my actions. But at the same time, Arjuna asked Krishna, Tadekam vad nishchityen shreyo ham apniyam. Lord, please tell me. My intellect is bewildered. Please tell me decisively, what path should I follow? He's actually looking for that good direction, which is available to you the every next moment. The every next moment, the freedom of choice is there with you. It is you who has to take the decision what you want to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, in any organization, a leader must build a culture around the idea of freedom, happiness, trust, faith, responsibility, accountability, freedom of choice, free will, principled use of the freedom, sacrifice, and service, tyag or seva, moral authority, and trust and faith, and a huge sense of gratitude. Because after all, like I said in the beginning, that we never filled a application form to the God Almighty that God, please help me. I'm going to be born at, I want to be born at so and so place. We didn't have a choice. So what you are is a sense of great blessing. You know, I am remembered of a beautiful couplet. परिंदे भी शुक्रगुजार हैं पतझड़ के दोस्तों तिनके कहां से लाते दर सदा बहार हो. So a sense of gratitude has to be there. Deep within us, each of us, there is an inner longing to live a life of greatness and contribution, to matter and make a difference. We need to find that voice. We need to help others to find the voice. And it has to be by walking the talk, by practice, and not by contemplation, but by action. And I must mention here that the biggest bestseller of the universe on this planet over the last 5,000 years, you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about Bhagavad Gita. Everything, ladies and gentlemen, that I mentioned or that is desirable for the humanity, for the service, is given in that wonderful shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. The Yale University created a library in 2019 on Bhagavad Gita, wherein it gathered all the translations all over the world. It is a 3-storied library in the Yale University. It is only dedicated to Bhagavad Gita. And therefore, I always feel that the best way is to do the India way. And, you know, today we are talking, India is being talked about, its diplomacy is being talked about, structures being talked about. I mean, Jaishankar is all over. His great father, I mean, Dr. S. Subramaniam, Mr. S. Subramaniam, who's not a doctor, but he was he's the father of Indian strategic thought. Jaishankar's father, he was my guide for my PhD thesis. And, you know, the India way is the right way. His book, which came out in 2019, it actually draws all its lessons, its direction from Ramayana, from Bhagavad Gita, from Mahabharata, from all our scriptures, from Vedas. Because we as Indians, we must understand that, yes, we must imbibe all good things from everywhere. But at the end of the day, you know, after all, it's one of the oldest cultural and oldest civilization of the history. And it has made so much of difference in the life of all over the universe. I must mention here a very nice talk between Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg. You know, in the fag end of his life, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, when met him, he told Mark Zuckerberg that if at all you're frustrated, if at all you feel that you are at the end of the road, and if you want inspiration or if you want peace, go to India, go to Rishikesh, or go to Uttarakhand, there is a place called Kanchi Ashram, and maybe you'll find solace, and you will get back, you will get energized, and you will get that place, get the space once again, and you can start work again. And Michael Wood, who used to do that story on discovery of India, he wrote sometime in 2008, he wrote that this century, 21st century, is India's century. And in 2050, India is going to be one of the greatest nations in the world. He did not only say that. What is the defining thing that he said? The defining this thing that he said is that India will be at a place at which it remained most of the times in the history. So profound, ladies and gentlemen. So I will close with some very ominous lines from Babu Ramdhari Singh Dinkar, one of my favorite poets, whom I revere a lot. His famous composition Rashmi Rathi. In that, he in the third chapter, हिंदी में से सर्ग कहते हैं, और वो छंद है, कंकड़ियां जिनकी सेज सुघर, छाया देता जिनको अंबर, विपदाएं दूध पिलाती हैं, लोरी आंधियां सुनाती हैं, जो लक्षाग्रह में जलते हैं वही सूरमा निकलते हैं, जो लक्षाग्रह में जलते हैं वही सूरमा निकलते हैं. थैंक यू लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन. जय हिंद.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I think if we had been all there, we would have given a standing ovation for this.
Standing ovation, yes.
It would have been a standing ovation, and I mean, there are goosebumps still on my hands and whole body when you were sharing one story after the other. And I think people are spellbound, and there are a lot of participants. We have got a lot of participants. I'm so thankful to all the members who are attending this, and I would welcome in case you have any questions. I have a lot of questions, but definitely I would welcome the audience to please post your questions in the chat box, and with the permission of Sharma ji, we can unmute some of them also if you want.
So Jagmohan, you can start with some of the questions already there in the chat box.
Yeah.
We can come on the full screen. We can I can close my presentation if you wish.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, sir. Please, you can close the presentation. Sir, I have changed my join laptop, so the questions are
unshare. You can unshare, General Sharma.
I can unshare.
Yeah, you can unshare so that screen will be available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
That's fine.
There is an interesting question which have come up. Rajesh Sharma ji, in case the previous question you can ask because it is gone from my chat box. I've changed my.
I will do that. Sure. So the first question somebody asked was he's saying that according to you, what is missing today in today's generation that we do not see great leaders in business?
I think I have brought out much of it in my own talk, because if you hear that, if you start hankering for success for which you are not ready to work, it will not be there. And success is not just hard work. It's a combination of time. It's a combination of situation. It's a combination of hard work, and time and situation can be luck. You can actually call that. But more than that, I feel that if you are looking for success just for the sake of success, then you will never be successful. If you are looking for greatness for the sake of greatness, that you cannot be great. I give you so many examples. All my men, that all the officers, you'll be surprised that I was myself in Siachen, and I have so many stories to tell you that people They, for their own comfort of their own brethren, they were ready to sleep outside because there were only 8 people allowed in the fiberglass hut. And the 9th guy, if he comes in, there will be discomfort. So the 9th guy will say that, okay, amongst the balance of us, we will patrol outside the hut every 2 hours. One of us will go outside and spend 2 hours. Now that kind of decisions, they come out of what you're ready to sacrifice. Now, if you're only looking for success in terms of money, I mean, I always, this famous verse, Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karmphal hetu bhuma te sangyasto karmani. We only see the first line of this famous verse, Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. But we never ever see that there is a second line to this, ma karmphal hetu bhuma te sangyasto karmani. You have no right to result. You have only right to action. Because if you did not have a if you did have a right to result, probably you have chosen where you want to be born. You would have filled that form, but you didn't fill that. So take the way it is, the things are. Don't hanker for success. Keep doing work. Keep doing work. But then do it in the right direction. When I was talking about Indian society and Indian culture, mind you, at the end of the First World War, India was still a country which was occupied, and Germany came out, was one of the most powerful nation. But what Germany did give, what did Germany give? Germany gave Hitler, and India gave Mahatma Gandhi. So that is the difference. I mean, to my mind, and I have firm conviction.
Thank you, Jagmohan. You can take.
I just for the sake of a minute, I had a wonderful teacher in those times. Rajesh, during our time, I'm talking about 1969. My 5th class teacher. I was a young student in Sainik School, Kapurthala, and he told me, he says, all of you are going to become big people. You are in uniform. Tomorrow you may become general. You may be a general, but you may still not be a successful man. But you will be a successful man. You may still not be a general. That's the difference.
Right, sir.
Success is within and not outside.
Great, sir. Success is within and not outside. In fact, there are a lot of other questions also. I also have a very interesting question, but let me give an opportunity to ask Anshu Sharma to please unmute yourself and ask a question, please.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you, BMA, for organizing this session. I think throughout the session, as even Rishi mentioned, that we had goosebumps across the body. So thank you so much, General Sharma, sir. And see, my question to you is that in management, we always say that to error is human.
Sorry?
And to error is human.
To error is human.
Okay, and see, one of the colonels I met, and he mentioned, and I still remember those words, like being in army, we cannot afford to make mistakes.
Yes.
So yeah, so how, like, you guys, with such a precision, decisions and strategies, what is that makes you so accurate and correct in approach? What is that going on when you are on the battleground, and how you make it happen at that moment?
Okay. Anshu, thank you very much for your comments. Firstly, I mean, like I said in the beginning of my talk, that I was very skeptical whether I'll make I'll be able to give anything away. I mean, as anything take away from this talk, but nevertheless, the accuracy and the rightness is drilled in us from the moment we wear the uniform. Therefore, you find that we do drills. Many a times, most of the things, they are drills. There is something peculiar there is a term called HR. It is called hotel hour. Hotel hour is the time when the people leave the forming up line for assault on a particular objective. Now, this hotel hour is coordinated with the artillery which is in support, artillery firing which is firing from 30 kilometers away. If I'm trying to attack Tiger Hill, there will be an Air Force aircraft which will be taking from Ambala, and he'll be firing on that. There'll be some mortars which will be firing from 5 kilometers. And they will have to stop at a particular time. And they know that my speed of walking at this altitude is so many steps in 1 minute, and in the plains it's so many minutes in 1 minute, so many steps in 1 minute. Now, if I falter, or any one of us, whether that RT range officer, or that pilot, or that man on ground, or us who are actually crossing the assault line, and if any one of us falter in any one of these timings, then we are doomed, and that operation will be a failure. And that operation actually is likely to be the victory or defeat for a nation. And we can't afford to let that happen. And that is why it is very difficult for us to commit a mistake, because we understand that if we commit a single mistake, it will result into the loss of lives, loss of the dignity and respect that we carry as a body of people, as an organization, and as a nation. We will be staring into the defeat. So we can't let that happen. That is why we can't.
Right. Basically, the training that is
yes, training. Besides training, that feeling, I'm sure you must understand. In this statement, I have spoken about defeat. I have spoken about victory. I have spoken about the loss of my fellow men. See, it is not just the training. Training is a drill part. The emotion, faith, trust is all about human feelings.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anshul. In fact, I totally agree. It is about trust. Well, I must share with you that we have some great corporate leaders also here. Mr. Sharma is one, Mr. Johari is one, Inderpalji is another one. Of course, but still, I always have this question in mind: the way in army, the Jawans or the colleagues, they are ready to die for you in case the leader is, touched, as you gave an example of in the China border. I don't see that kind of, fire in most of the corporate associates. So that is there. It is as an observation. Let me ask a question which has come up, that what is the difference between, what is the dividing line between management and leadership in forces?
Management and leadership?
In forces.
In forces. Firstly, in forces, there is nothing known as management.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And, this word management, yes, we do unfortunately tend to use this word management in forces. And this is actually, something what happened in the Vietnam War. After the Vietnam War, there are a number of books which came out for the American Army, Crisis in Command, and so on and so forth, where they defeat into victory, etc., etc. Now, they felt that probably they were not able to manage things well. And they started coming out with those jargons. And unfortunately, in some of our quarters, we have been aping the Western world. And like I said, unfortunately, I have not been one of them. So therefore, I always believe that the deep Indian thought is actually the hallmark of our strength in every sphere of life. So some of these words, they started coming in. Mind you, I mean, you saw one of my slides where I said resource to force.
Yes.
Nowhere I use the word human resource management. And it is that very moment I mentioned that body, mind, intellect, and above all, The spirit, it's the spirit. How much we talk about the spiritual intelligence, the emotional quotient. Barry Goldman, he recently came out with his famous book called Focus. I think it is a must recommend read for all young parents whose children are glued to the mobile screens. But you pick up any philosopher, everybody talks about human spirit. Every good leadership thinker talks about human spirit. And therefore, management is not the right thing to do. Walk the talk, set an example, be kind, be faithful, build the emotion, that quotient of trust, and you will automatically be accepted as a leader. I mean, I can quote examples even from the industry, but nevertheless, anyway, thank you very much.
Thanks for your response, sir. Great one. We have the Professor Lalit Johari, who took up the last Friday fundamentals with us. Can I request Professor Lalit Johari to share his views on the topic today and on the topics we discussed by Professor General Sharma?
Before Lalit Johari starts, I want to express my gratitude to him because I think he, in his last talk, he made a mention, he and Professor Boyle, they made a mention of trust and faith in team building.
Yeah.
Right. So this, like I said, trust and faith, they are not instructions. They are very fundamental principle of emotion. It's an emotion. So thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Johari. It was such a pleasure to, I could spend just about 15 minutes, but it's such a pleasure to hear you that. Thank you.
I have a question. Can I ask, or you want me to wait?
Yes, sir. Maybe after Professor Johari, we will definitely give you sufficient time. Sir, if you can share some of your thought.
Thank you, Rajesh. It's just a coincidence that in the last 6 months, I've been working with the Ministry of Defense in UK government on some very interesting assignments. And what the General said today is almost like a universal message. And obviously, General has a fantastic span of experience and depth in his thought. So
Sir, are you here or there's some connection?
I think there is some connectivity issue, I suppose. Although he's switched on his camera also. Meanwhile, can I request
Karunji.
Karun Sharma ji to please unmute yourself and please ask his question or his views accordingly.
Thank you so much, Sharma ji. Thank you so much, Jagmohan ji. Sir, right from the start, General Sharma, I was very, very happy to hear, and then it was an outstanding presentation, very inspiring. My question was that, I'm studying Taoism a little bit, and I was finding that, there is a way to establish a goal and then achieve it, which right at the end you said you fight only for doing the work and quoting from the Gita. So where becomes the cutoff line that here you decide what you have to achieve, but then lose all your kind of, too much attachment to the goal. Would you like to share some of your views which could be practiced in army?
You're saying lose attachment to the goal?
Yes.
Okay.
It's achievement of the goal. You establish a goal, but then you lose achievement of the goal when you are fighting for it.
I think if I have conveyed anything like that, probably I must have been misunderstood. Goal or objective is something that you have to achieve. I mean, in the military parlance, am I audible, Karunji?
Yes, yes, sir.
In the military parlance,
Yeah.
if I have to capture an objective,
Jay.
that is my goal. I must capture it. And I must do it even at the cost of my life. But in the process, if I have to brave all odds against it, but at the end of it, I should not be thinking that if I capture this objective, I will get Paramveer Chakra. So I am not talking about not achieving the goal. I am talking about when I'm talking about the result, I'm talking the result about on your personal effect. That is what it does to you. Do you get rewarded for it? You know, when the objective is common for a set of people, and you do your best to achieve that objective, and after that objective has been achieved, you just fade away. You know, Rishi raised a very pertinent question: the difference between leadership in the army and leadership in the corporate world. You know, we sacrifice people for the sake of others, and unfortunately, in many places in the corporate world, you sacrifice others for the sake of bonus. So I think that is the difference one must see in the entire process. And therefore, I come back to the second line of the 37th verse of 37th verse. You know, Ma karma phal hetu bhuma te sangyasto karmani. You have no right to the result, but you cannot shy away from action, because that is the greatest injustice that you can do to this wonderful life that has been given, for which you always should be grateful.
Sir, this is a fine line which I wanted a clarification. Like, if you have to conquer 5840, then conquering of 5840 was a goal, or and then can you sacrifice a part of desire in conquering that, and do all your best, put all your energy, resources only in doing your best?
Of course, just imagine what Mohit Sharma did when he got into the terrorist camp as an intruder and as part of them. Every day of those 6 months, he would have thought in the night when he goes to sleep that he's going to die, because he'll be exposed and he'll be killed. He had his young wife, he had a young kid. He was never thinking about that. His only thought in his mind was avenging the death of his 2 comrades and making sure that none of these terrorists are able to do it ever again, the same thing to his people or to anyone else. So,
yeah, I said that, taking the example of Mohit Sharma again, he was doing everything what needs to be done to revenge that, but not being very kind of not positive, but with full of desire that I will achieve this goal. Not decide about Paramveer Chakra or those things, but only think his goal was to do his best.
Yes. So for achieving the goal, there has to be a full motivation, and to that I agree. Yes, goal is a goal, objective is an objective. For that, you put all your might in it. But that objective has to be right and good, and for the well-being of the rest of the humanity, not money making for your own self.
Right.
Thank you, Karunji, and thank you, Janata. And may I request Lalit ji, in case he is Professor Lalit, in case he is connected back.
Yes.
To continue, please.
I'm sorry, I lost the link to the web ID. So I don't know.
Lalit sir, can I just interrupt? I don't know whether you have come across Mark Goldsack.
Yes.
He's been my student.
Okay, congratulations.
Mark Goldsack has been my student in India in NDC, National Defense College, where I was there for 3 years as a.
All right.
He's the director DSC, I know, these days.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was professor at University of Delhi, I used to have quite a few, servicemen of from Air Force and Navy and Army to come and do the executive MBA program, which was way back in 80s, and many of them have achieved wonderful results for the country as a whole. So, responding to Rajesh's request, I mean, fundamentally, what I would like to say is that what you have heard from a general is a very powerful message, but it needs to be digested because it has been a very rich presentation, experience based, example based. Lots of research has gone into it. So this definitely goes beyond the usual concept of a webinar on a Friday evening. It sounds more like a, the whole week of wisdom piece by piece. And that's exactly what we in India need today in every kind of spaces. It's not just the corporate world where there is a crisis in terms of lack of young leaders, but also in the political space as well as in the social activism space. And that is where the hope is. I'm glad that General has highlighted almost like global reflections of his thinking and his wisdom. And I must say that I would love to meet the General once again, and if possible, have one-to-one with him so that I can learn from him. And I also need to develop my own thinking in terms of what's going on in the other parts of the world. So thank you very much, Rajesh, for inviting me. And thank you very much, General, for sharing this magnificent piece of research-based evening that you have given to all of us. Thank you very much.
Lalit sir, thank you very much. I am rather humbled. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Johnny Sam. And may I request, we have a very senior BMA member over here, Mr. Inderpal Singh Ji, who always attend the Friday Fundamentals and contributes with his thoughts. Can I request, sir, to please share his thoughts on today's session?
Thank you, Jagmohan. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'll be just repeating myself. I said that it was a very powerful presentation, an extremely meaningful one in our context today. I would just add that, the kind of goals that General described may not be possible to set in the business context. But yet, keeping in mind the greater good or certain nobility of goals, if we keep in front of us, we can maybe bring out the spiritual strength that he talked about by giving examples of Guru Gobind Singh, Vivekananda Ji, and others. So I think the message is that everyone doesn't have to fight wars and get killed and go through all those things. But in our own occupations, in our own sphere of work, if we have noble goals, I mean, just to use one word to describe such goals, and if we get emotionally connected, emotionally empowered with that goal, and if we achieve, India as a nation could be far better. Because I think again and again we see in our civil life we fall short of things. For example, take our roads. I mean, why shouldn't the roads which are used by millions should last 2 monsoons or 5 monsoons, But we fail. So where is that missing noble goal? What is it that is absent of that inspiration to do a great job and so on? So the question is, how do we bring out military lessons and adapt it to the non-military operations and create kind of leadership academies and others to produce leaders that we require today? I suppose for our Leadership Next initiative, perhaps we could take inputs from the general and see, bounce off our content and see if it can be modified, it can be added to, subtracted to, etc., to make it more effective. Because at the end of the day, we require better leaders, and there is no two doubt about it. Thank you, Rishi.
Thank you, sir.
Inderji, Rishi, if I can have 30 seconds, I firstly thank you very much. But I must just say that you are actually not taking me back to my my thesis on civil military relations in India, as to how much interface is there in USA. Probably practically every retired general officer or even some others, they are professors in one of the other universities. Well, of course, the drawback is within the military personnel who superannuate also, because they do not sort of come forward to come and teach in the universities. But at the same time, even the universities also feel that ye kya fauji hai, ye to zindagi bhar se sirf ladai ladi, ye kaise khayega type. So I think it is both ways, and it's a very important component as to what is the interface between the civil. I'm not talking only about the bureaucracy and the polity. I'm also talking about the general population and the military. I think that's very important.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And as suggested by Inderpalji, we'll definitely take your suggestions, because we are running a very interesting module called Leader Next, which is for the young leaders who want to go into fast track mode and adjust to the newer requirements. And as Inderpalji said, that it is not just the technical skills, the digital skills, but the people skills and the trust building skills, which are more important, which will be helping us. We'll be taking your input for those modules. We'll contact you separately for that particular aspect. There's one question. I think we have time for maybe 1 minute for that, sir.
Yes, because I have another session starting at 7:30.
Okay. So I think we can leave that thing, and my request, Sharma ji, to please convey his vote of thanks for us.
Oh, what a delight to listen. Thank you very much for a very wonderful, passionate, rich of experience, coming from the heart session. All of us enjoyed it. I'm sure there are a lot of take homes which are there, as Professor Jory and Inderpalji said. Thank you very much for sparing time for Bombay Management Association. And we are, we will remain in debt to you for sharing your experiences and also knowledge with our members. And thank you, Professor Lalit, my professor, who, like they say that eagles at the middle age or later middle age of their life, they go to the, top of the hill and take out their feathers. So Professor, in the background of my career, helped me to rejuvenate my thinking and also helped me to remain relevant for another 15 to 20 years. So Professor Lalit Jory, I am really thankful to you for that value addition to my personal goal. And thank you very much.
Really proud of you, Rajesh. Thank you very much. And thank you to General and all the members of the audience. Thank you.
I thank our past president Inderpalji for such an inspiration for attending all our sessions, our executive members for being part of the group, our office staff who has been very diligent in organizing all these programs, and Mr. Rishi for being such a support, dear friend and colleague for organizing and for coordinating this program. Jagmohan, you wanted to say something?
I wanted to say something, sir, before we said thanks to General Saab. I wanted to say that, we have posted a link of Leader Next program in the chat, and I would request those who would like to take advantage of this program, which is a very, very cost-effective program, and by the leaders and who's who of the industry, like we had Mr. Mohandas Pai last time, or even Mr. Yogi Shriram was there, Ms. Chaya Sehgal is there, and many other leaders of the corporate world. They are going to be the teachers for this. So I would suggest all of you to please share this, or if you want, you can join this program. It is one of its kind, since BMA is a non-profit organization. We are doing it along with Jamnalal Bajaj, this program, Bombay Management Association. The link is pasted in the chat. Please do take advantage of it and subscribe to it and join. This is a 4 months program, online program. Over to you, sir.
So
Thank
thank you very much, Jagmohan, for helping BMA for this program. And so thank you very much, everyone, for joining, all the audience, for taking out time out of your busy schedule. We promise you, and we will continue to bring luminaries from the corporate as well as from the academic world for the benefit of our members. All of those who are not life members of Bombay Management Association so far, we would urge and request all of you to become life members so that all the benefits of Bombay Management Association, which is the oldest management association in the country, most revered, and many times we have been awarded the best management association of the country. So you will keep getting the benefits from this association for your benefit and your colleagues' benefits. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and wish you a very happy.
Can I have a last word?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You would have realized that I have not spoken any about my own life stories of 42 years.
Sure.
So maybe next time, someday I'll talk of my own personal experience.
We would love to have. We would love to have you once again with us.
We will definitely like to know.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Lalit. Thank you very much, Mr. Indupal and Rajesh and Rishi and Lakshmi also for coordinating. Karunji, thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for being such a
Thank
patient.
you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening. And in Mumbai, please do celebrate Dandiya and be safe.
And happy weekend. Thank you very much.
Happy weekend to you. Lakshmi, you can stop it, please. This one.
Yeah, you can stop.